Sho Genge, welcome to Uncomfortable Growth, hosted by none other than your girl, Gugu Nyansumba, Juju Letwa, Sis GU to some. This is Uncomfortable Growth. To my returning subscribers to the Genge, I hope that you guys are well at home. And to those that are passing by, I hope you like what you see and you join the Genge, please. I hope you like what you see and you join the Genge, please. Okay, we are on the road to 80. I'm excited. We hit 70k the other day. We're about to hit 72,000, which is crazy, yes. So tell everyone you know to subscribe. Tell the men them. First of all, I want to say that my hairstyle. So I had asked that my followers on Instagram give me a name for this, this babe. I want to have an alter ego for every hairstyle that I have. Be a different person. And I don't know what to name her, so I asked you guys. So this is Amani, okay? While I have the faux locks done by my girl Londi Locks, I think that her hand is so neat. It's giving island girl. It's giving take me to the world. It's giving I'm an island girl. I'm having the time of my life as Amani. I don't know what Amani's gonna bring. I don't know what her personality is. She's giving me island girl. She's giving me I say what I want. I do what I want. I'm a hot girl. What you gonna say about that? Guys, I have a little bit of an eye infection, so if you see me constantly like touching my left eye, it's not that I'm crying, but like that babes just be tearing up for no reason, so please bear with me. I hope that you guys have had a lovely week thus far. Thank you so much for tuning into this video. Today we will be doing a mental journal, and I was in two minds about this because I'm in a good place in my life, and I kind of felt like, what am I gonna say? What can I talk about when I'm in a good place? But I just thought to myself that it's really important that I do these even when I'm in a good space, so that you guys can see that good days exist and good seasons are coming, and that whatever it is that you're feeling will not be the rest of your life. It is not forever. Feelings aren't fact. I also kind of feel like there are people who don't necessarily know that I do this because I haven't been on YouTube for quite some time. But a mental journal is basically just where I speak about my mental health and how I'm feeling in that season and in that time. And I've said this before, but I suffer from anxiety and depression. I suffer more from anxiety than what I do depression. Anxiety used to be the bitch that almost killed me, honestly. And depression. Both of them tag teaming, really powerful combination. Conversation for another day. I said this to my friend the other day in passing, and it's wild that I get to say this to you guys because I think you've seen some of my mental journals, and in some of them I really wasn't in a good place, and I share that with you. But I have not been anxious this year, it is mind-boggling to say that to me because I was someone who felt like I was ruled by anxiety, or maybe I have high-performing anxiety. Like my anxiety no longer debilitates me, but when I'm anxious I'm able to be productive, and it's not feeling as unhealthy. Like I'm not feeling as erratic, Yeah, and when I had first started experiencing my anxiety, guys, anxiety is such an ugly feeling. And that's how I know I haven't been truly anxious this year. Like I know I haven't had a full-blown anxiety attack because it is a feeling you will not forget. You cannot breathe, okay? You can hardly get out of bed, but you want to get out of bed. Your stomach is turning. My anxiety feels very physical. Like I literally will struggle to breathe. My stomach will turn. I can even start to have like hot flashes. And I haven't had that this year. And that is such an accomplishment for me. And when I realized that, I thought to myself, like, what has led me to this point? What has allowed for me to not experience an anxiety attack thus far in 2022? Because there's been a lot that's gone down. And there's been a lot to be sad and anxious about. But I really haven't. And I think that it's been a very long journey, and my biggest thing is that you'll get there. I know it doesn't feel like it, and I know that when we're in a dark place it feels really dark and we can't see the light at the end of the tunnel, but if I can do it, you can do it. And it's a process. When I think about my mental health journey, when I first was diagnosed with depression and anxiety, I was in a really dark place. My feelings were feeling like fact. The dark hole that I was in, I felt like I was gonna stay in forever. I did not see Google beyond 2 years. Fuck 2 years. I did not see Google beyond 3 to 6 months. Honestly, I had no aspirations for my future, and I think that anxiety and depression or any mental illness really robs you of that. It robs you of seeing the beauty in your life. It robs you of seeing the fact that you have potential, that you're going to have a beautiful life, that you're going to do amazing things, and that you're capable. So in the beginning I really didn't see much for myself, and I always say that God used my weakness and turned it into a strength, because there was a point in my life where I had silenced myself for many different reasons, and I still want to do a whole podcast episode on that. But I had silenced myself. I felt like I wasn't worthy of being loved. I felt like I was an embarrassment. I wanted to spare people the sight of me. And it's wild that I'm saying these things now because obviously I have a YouTube channel where y'all see me and hear me all the time. But I really realized that that was something I thought that I would not be able to get over and overcome. And for me to be able to do so in such a big way is really, really crazy, you know? And I think that the more I started to see myself, the better my situation got. The more I started to realize that this is a phase and that this is not my forever and that these feelings aren't facts and that anxiety is a liar. Like a liar, fraud, and a scammer, okay? Like anxiety makes you believe that you can't do certain things and that certain things are bigger than you. And you start to entertain the worst case scenario all the time. And it almost feels beyond you, you know, because you're not actively doing it, but your mind naturally takes you there. And I really think I've been able to train my mind to stay in the positive light a little bit longer. But again, that comes with time. That has come with me learning what my boundaries are and really implementing them. I think that this is the first time in my life where I have been this dedicated to my boundaries and I have honored myself as much as what I have. Like, this is the first time in my 24 years where I really am taking care of myself and making sure that I'm in spaces that are conducive to me. You definitely need professional help. If you can afford to see a therapist, see a therapist. If you can afford medication, definitely see a psychiatrist, you know. I know that sometimes we speak about being kind to one another and checking on one another, and although that is great and it may help, I don't necessarily think that's a solution. As people, I think we should always be moving from a place of kindness because we really don't know what people are going through. And a kind act may spare someone on that day, but it's not a cure. You know, and sometimes it doesn't spare people. So I want us to understand that although being nice to one another and showing each other kindness is a good thing, it is not the solution to healing someone's mental health. So and I'm aware that my mental health got really bad in varsity because I was continuously putting myself in triggering spaces. I was continuously surrounding myself with people that triggered me, with people that I felt like I constantly had to explain myself to, with people that I thought just didn't see me. And because of that, I almost felt like I had to work that much harder to be accepted or that much harder to be someone's friend, and all of that, which is so wild to say now, but and I have been super aware of what my triggers are, and I don't allow myself to be in that space. Again, guys, I'm gonna keep saying this, it takes time. Unfortunately, to learn what your triggers are, you have to be triggered. I hate that because I don't want that for any of y'all. I don't want that for myself. I did not want that for myself, but I had to be triggered a lot by a certain thing or by certain people for me to realize, like, this is a no-go zone for me. I do not feel safe in this space. I do not feel safe around you. Therefore, I don't want to be around you. And I think when you reach that point, it's one thing to have the realization, but it's another to really put it into practice. And that's what I think the span of last year going into this year has really been for me. It's been hard to cut certain people off. It's been hard to not be in certain spaces. It's been hard to be a little bit more reclusive, but it brings me so much more peace. I am always in favor of things that bring me peace, you know, and things that bring us peace may be difficult. You may have to cut off people that you really do care about, but they're not good for your mental health and they're not good for your soul and your peace. And that was something I really struggled with. So as much as I knew what my boundaries were, I didn't feel strong enough to implement them. And also I started to gaslight myself. I was like, okay, Google, you know you feel like this in this situation or in this space. But I used to be like, do you really feel like that? Are you bugging? Are you the problem? You know, and even if you are the problem, it's okay. Take yourself out of the situation and be the problem by yourself. Mental health is a really tricky one because I do think it's something that you may struggle with for a very long time in your life, possibly forever, but I don't want to speak that over us because maybe that's not the situation. But just because it's been a really good season for me, I think it just speaks to me taking better care of myself and me knowing what I need in those moments a lot better. Whereas when I was super anxious or really depressed or going through a depressive episode, I didn't know how to take care of myself. I didn't know what made me feel better. And also I didn't believe that I deserved to feel better. That's what I don't like about depression, especially. Like, it really strips you away it strips away all of the good that's in your life and it makes you believe that you don't deserve it. So I think overcoming or like combating your mental health happens in steps and it happens in stages, and I'm just lucky that I'm now at this stage and at this step. And it took like 6 years. It honestly took about like 6 to 5 years for me to get to this point, which is an accomplishment for me. I do think I'm just taking better care of myself holistically, like my spirit, my body, my mind, my soul, all of that good stuff. I'm so aware of what I'm feeding myself. I've spoken about social media before, but that can be a triggering space for me. And because that is the case, I have to limit the amount of time that I spend on it. My mental health and my peace is the most important thing to me. There's nothing that's going to come in the weight of that or in between that anymore. Nothing is worth it. When I'm not okay, I'm not my best person. And when I'm not okay, I'm the person that's in the dark hole. I'm the person who feels like there's no light at the end of the tunnel. I'm the person that no longer wants to be here. You know, like I'm the person who has to deal with it. So I've just come to realize that it's never worth putting yourself second. It's never worth putting yourself in compromising positions or keeping yourself in friendships or situations or environments that don't serve you. And I know that I'm saying this, and rather, I know it's somewhat easier said than done, because sometimes the people that trigger us are family. And I'm still going to do a whole podcast episode on growing up in a black household, because there is a lot to say about that. And I understand that not all of you may have the liberty of taking yourself out of that space, but and I don't know what to say because it's so frustrating. And I know I'm not a parent, so I can't tell parents how to parent, but I do believe in having, or people having their space in order to feel what they need to feel. And that's something that's come up a lot, and something I've witnessed, you know, like when I was heavily depressed and anxious, when I came home, I kept to myself in my room because I felt like that was the only space I could truly just feel what I needed to feel without lying. I hid my depression and anxiety really well at home. Like, even when I told my parents about it and my sister, I guess they were like, okay, just because they didn't see it as often, you know, they didn't experience my episodes, and I really tried to shield them from how bad and ugly it was and just how much of a dark space I was in. But honestly, having my little me time allowed for me to feel what I needed to feel. And sometimes that's what you need. I think you need privacy, especially when you live at home. You need a moment to yourself. You need to not be questioned every 2 seconds. It's also weird, like, I almost feel like when black children chill in their room, black parents are very much like, where's Zane? Why are you in your room? Why are you not cooking? Why are you not cleaning? And it's like, I just actually need a moment for myself, you know? Like, I'm not okay. I need to release what it is that I'm feeling. And I feel like in black households, we don't have the liberty sometimes. Well, I do now, luckily, because I told my parents it's not gonna work. But we don't have the liberty of expressing what it is that we feel, because you have a roof over your head, because you go to a good school, because there is food on your table. And although that is all true, that doesn't take away from the fact that mental illness is an illness. I could be the happiest I have ever been. I could have all that it is that I want in this life. But if I am not mentally stable, I don't know what to tell you. Like, I'm not gonna be okay, you know? And again, I'm going to have this whole conversation on my podcast because I think there's a lot to say for it. But I do want to encourage people to create some sort of a safe space. If it isn't at home and it isn't your parents, hopefully it can be your friends. Hopefully you do have someone to speak to. I think a very important part of my mental health journey was having people validate how I was feeling. Because for a very long time, I felt like I was alone, and I felt stupid and silly for the way I felt. And I was embarrassed that I was struggling mentally. I was embarrassed that I was anxious. I was embarrassed that I was depressed. I was embarrassed that I was thinking about death, honestly. I was embarrassed that I couldn't get out of bed, that I couldn't take care of myself, that I was struggling at school. And mental health and school is just a different conversation altogether, because I think you guys know I don't have a degree, but I did go to UCT, and I decided to take a leave of absence. I will be returning to school. I don't know when. Stop asking me about it though. None of your business. Love you guys. But it was a very vicious cycle. Like, I wasn't able to do school because I was depressed, and because I was depressed, I was failing school. Like, it's so hard to get yourself out of that cycle, and I am so grateful for being able to take a leave of absence, because it really allowed for me to heal. And you cannot heal in the space in which you have been triggered and traumatized. And for the longest time, I thought I could. There were spaces I was keeping myself in because I thought that, one, what I was going through wasn't that significant and it wasn't that big of a deal. And it's like, Google, grow up. You should be able to be in these spaces. You should be able to be around these people. And I wasn't, and that's okay. I think as people, we need to offer ourselves so much more, like, kindness and so much more understanding. And there's nothing embarrassing about not being able to be in a space, not being able to be on social media for a period of your life, being sad, not being able to there's nothing embarrassing about that, because that is your truth and that's what you're going through, and that is that on that. And if you are having a moment in your life where you're down and out, it is a moment. You will get up and you will be fine. I've realized the importance of allowing for myself to experience the feelings that I'm feeling. When I am sad, or even when I'm anxious, I cry. I think I cry a lot. But I cry because it for me, it really is a good release. You know, if I'm anxious and I have a lump in my throat and I feel like I need to go for a walk, I need to run, I need to jog, my anxiety can also, like, show itself in very erratic ways. I'll be pacing up and down the house. All of a sudden, I want to rock this party and get it dip. Everybody make it Bruh, I allowed myself to do that. If I was just severely depressed on the day and I woke up and I cried, if I needed to cry the whole day, cry the whole day. I don't think you are doing yourself justice or you're helping yourself by not allowing yourself to express what it is that you're feeling. And I know, again, when we live at home or when there are people around us, we want to show face and make it seem like we're okay, but at the end of the day, you are your biggest priority. And if you need an outlet and you need to feel what you need to feel, the people that really care for you and love you will be there for you and will understand that. And if you need a moment from your friends and you can't be as present, that is okay. Like, I think I'm in a better space mentally because I have started to prioritize my mental health. Like, actively, every single day, I do stuff that makes me feel at peace. I do stuff that I know is going to help me. I keep myself out of certain spaces, out of certain conversations, you know, like, I don't want to talk about stuff all the time. Damn. I really don't. I don't want to talk about what you're talking about. Like, I don't. So I don't, you know, and I kind of keep to myself a little bit more. I do feel like this video is all over the place, but what I'm trying to say is that if you are in a dark place and it feels like you are not going to get through it, you're going to get through it. Because if I was able to do so, you are able to do so. Recently, I did record a podcast episode about my depression and anxiety, and I do speak more in depth as to how it affected me and just how dark of a space I was in. And I honestly feel like if I was able to fight that, if I was able to start a YouTube channel, if I was able to allow myself to be seen and heard, you're gonna be good, okay? You're gonna be good. And I know it feels like the end of the world, and I know it's so consuming, and it is so dark, and it is so heavy. But I want you to know that one day you will feel so much lighter and you will walk in your light and you will feel better because you're capable and you deserve a good life and you deserve a happy life and you deserve peace. So yeah, that's really been me and my mental health. Like, I'm taking better care of my body, better care of my mind, and always when I'm at a better space, I'm a better person to the people around me. I'm a better friend, a better daughter, a better everything, honestly. So yeah, I think that's all I really have to say about mental health. I think what has also helped me in my journey is allowing for myself again to feel what I need to feel. Because sometimes when we come out of a season and it's been really good, and then you have that one day or that week where you're having a really tough time, it feels like you are regressing. You know, you've made all of this progress and now you're back to square one, and you're not. Like, a bad day is a bad day. A bad week is a bad week. I look at these things in isolation, you know, like, it doesn't now determine the rest of my life or the rest of this month or the rest of the year. It is a moment, and if I needed to be sad and I needed to cry and I wasn't feeling okay and I had a bad mental health day, that's okay. That's a day. If I wake up the next day and I'm up and I'm better, that's cool. Also, a very big thing was allowing for myself to be happy. Again, because I think that mental illness is a thief, liar, and a fraud, and it starts to make you believe things that aren't true about yourself, and it starts to make you believe that you don't deserve any good. I was stopping myself from being happy in moments when I was feeling real joy, real bliss, real happiness. It was almost as if I was convincing myself that I didn't deserve to feel that. I would laugh with my friends and then be like, because you're depressed. Like, why are you happy today? Have you forgotten about your problems? Have you forgotten that you're anxious? Have you forgotten about all of your problems? And in a moment, if you're happy, allow yourself to be happy. Guys, I'm such a believer in moments, you know? I think we have so many different moments in life, and it's so important to me that I give myself to all the moments that I experience. So if I am happy in a moment, live in that moment, you know? And when I was in a really dark place, I would hold on to those little pockets of time where I was happy, where I was laughing with my friends, because it reminded me that it's possible. I can feel happy. I can go out with my friends and feel good. I can have a good day. I can have a good week. And that's how it started. When I had a good day, I was like, okay, cool. We had a good day. Thank you, Jesus. And then I had another good day and another good day, which turned into a week, which turned into a few weeks, which turned into a month. Because we go through certain things, I think we automatically think that the rest of our lives are going to look like that. And I realized when I had good days that no, the rest of my life is not going to be sad. I personally know that I'm walking into the best years of my life now. Honestly, varsity was shit. Depression, anxiety, all the triggers, all the trauma, all the sadness, all the school. It really wasn't a good time. As much as I had amazing memories with my friends, and I think that's really what got me through varsity, just being able to lean on my friends, laugh with my friends, have them support me and all of that. Those little pockets of happiness made me realize that that's the life I want to live. And that's what I want to work towards. Like, I want to work towards Gugu being happy, Gugu being in a good space, Gugu feeling free, Gugu feeling liberated, Gugu in the streets shaking her little head, Gugu, you know? I just wanted to be my truest self, and my truest self is when I'm at peace and when I am happy. Really, like anxiety doesn't suit me, depression doesn't suit me, and yes, I suffer from these things, but they don't make me, you know, like I suffer from anxiety, depression, but like I'm not anxiety and depression, you know, as a person, those aren't my characteristics. Like I'm not depressed. I may suffer from it, I may have depressive episodes, I may be anxiety prone, but again, those are moments, they don't make me. And ever since I've started to view things as moments, it's brought me so much peace in life. When things don't work out, that was a moment, that was an experience, that's okay. You were really sad yesterday, that was a moment, you know. You're really happy today, this is another moment. And again, I'm just giving myself to moments and really allowing for myself to be like really present in my life. And I think sometimes anxiety and depression or just mental illness takes that away. You don't want to be present because you don't want to be here, and that sucks because it takes away the beauty of life. I think that when you're in that place, it's really dangerous because you're no longer, the things that used to make you happy won't make you happy. The small things, you know, like guys, I'm obsessed with the sunset. I see a sunset, I take out my phone. You know, I'm near the ocean. I always say that small things make me happy, and I really hope that I never change. But looking back at it, when I was heavily depressed and anxious, those small things meant absolutely nothing to me. And that's because anxiety and depression just really sucks the joy out of everything around you. And it's a hard journey, but I had to remind myself of the things I like, and I reminded myself that I deserve to feel happy and I deserve to experience that. And yes, I'm sitting in my room crying, but let me maybe like cry whilst taking a walk. And I know that the things that I'm speaking of aren't going to cure your mental illness. Again, it's an illness, you know, and it needs medical help and medical assistance, but I know that taking better care of myself in my personal capacity really did a lot for me, like outside of therapy and outside of medication. Just also deciding that I want to get better and deciding that I deserve a better life changed my life completely. So if you're watching this and you're in a dark place, I really do hope that you're able to take something away from this, and I hope that you realize that you're capable of moving past this and that you deserve a beautiful, peaceful life and that you're going to be okay and you just deserve to be happy. Honestly, I think it really sucks when we're constantly like, bro, when you're going through it, like, oh, the internal conflict is actually too much, and I don't have the range sometimes. I don't have the range. And when you don't have the range, that's also okay. Like, as much as I may have the range today, there are days where I don't, There are days where I don't. And when I don't, there's nothing I can do for you. And I'm going to honor that, and I'm going to take care of myself. And also, I do want to say that I'm not currently hiring. You guys have messaged me quite a bit about being hired under my company. I'm not currently hiring. Once I am, I will definitely let you guys know. Thank you so much for showing the interest. And another thing is that I'm aware of my capacity. So this is the best that I can do. I make these videos and I speak on my podcast about the things that I do because in that moment I have the range and the strength to do so, you know. And that's where it ends. And I know that sometimes you guys DM me about some of the situations that you've been in and needing advice, but I also want to make people aware that as much as I speak about anxiety and depression and as much as I'm in a good place, I never want you guys to forget that I actually suffer from this thing. And I think that because I speak about it the way that I do and I seem okay and so forth, you guys think that I have the capacity to take on all of your scenarios and so forth. And as much as I want to be there to help as many of you as I can and support you, I know that this is my means of doing it. Like me recording a video and putting myself out there and sharing my story is me doing the best that I can. I don't have the capacity to read, you know, thousands of DMs and almost like therapize you guys through that because yeah, you guys don't know my triggers. You guys are asking me about things that you don't know if are triggering me or if it could take me to a bad place and so forth. So yeah, this is the best that I can do and I hope that this is good enough. You know, and I hope that you guys are well. It's not that I don't like it when you guys DM me, you know, of course I do. Thank you for showing me so much love. But I really just am not in the position to be helping you guys like that because I'm not a therapist and I just speak from my personal perspective. And I'm just gonna leave this video here. I feel like I've been talking for too long. Okay guys, I hope that you guys are well at home. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you have a good Sunday. Giyanita da. Mwah.